Hello everyone, and I'm here to present you the pilot episode of DiBS. Dance is bullshit. What is DiBS? Basically, I had the idea to record conversations with some of my nearest friends talking about anything related to dance. During these weekly episodes, we will be sharing our thoughts and opinions on different subjects related to the art of dance, the dance industry, or simply about movement itself. Sharing the screen with me will be my friends and colleagues, Max, Malcolm, and Saúl, who will start by giving a bit of their backgrounds. Enjoy and leave a comment if you feel like.
Hi, I'm Max Levy. I am half American, half Japanese dancer living in Germany. I was born in Tokyo and grew up in America. I graduated from the San Francisco Ballet and danced in the US for a couple of years before moving to Germany in 2011. And for the past 3 years, I've been working as a freelance dancer. And I met the other three in this podcast while dancing in the State Ballet of Nuremberg.
Okay, hello, my name is Malcolm Sutherland, and I'm born in Scotland, and I trained in London for 3 years before moving to Europe, and I was in Ballet Basel for 1 year as an apprentice before joining the State Ballet of Nuremberg, and I stayed there for 7 years. 2015 I left to become a freelance dancer and choreographer, and I've been working in that capacity ever since. And yeah, I've been working mostly around Europe, and been based in Germany most of that time.
Cool. Hi, my name is Saúl. I come from Gran Canaria in the Canary Islands in Spain. I was born in 1984. And in 2001, I moved to my university studies there. 2006, I finished. 2005, I finished. And I went to my first company in Marseille. And after that, I moved to Nuremberg, where I met with the three other people in this call. And we worked together for several years. We worked together for 7, some for 5. And after that, I was a dancer in Staatstheater Saarbrücken. And in 2017, I left the company to try the freelance way, and I've been freelancing ever since.
All right, so we are gonna start this podcast by analyzing and giving a bit of our opinions on a piece. Today, for this week, we chose to watch a piece from Yoann Bourgeois, Les Grands Fantömes. It's been uploaded in YouTube for like a couple of weeks, I think now. And so if you want, guys, I'm gonna put in the description of the video, I'm gonna put the link to it in case you want to also have a look. And yeah, share your opinions with your friends or even in the comments if you feel like. So yeah, what? How was it?
Okay, I'll start. Well, like we were chatting a little bit before we recorded, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good kind of a balance of a piece. Not to go super analyzing already in the first sentence, but it felt like something I could experience in the setting of watching it as a video. I mean, it was made for video in this way, so I felt like I was getting the real experience of what they made in that sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the piece was made in a way that the video was as important as anything else. Like the editing of that video was as important as any action that was happening on stage or on the different stages that were during the piece. Yeah. I mean, I was even writing a question while watching the piece, and it was, would the choreography work without the cameras? Like if you just had a one point of view that normally the audience, even when the stage is round and people can be on all the sides, the people, usually the audience is just having one point of view, even if the stage is round. And I don't think it would work, you know, it's or it would work as well. For sure it's working, but the cameras did a lot of work during this piece.
Yeah, I mean, if I understood right, I think I read that somewhere or saw that sometime during the credits at the end of the piece, that it was created for this, I don't know if for this space, which is the Pantheon de Paris. I don't know if it was created for the Pantheon or if it was created for that kind of space, but I think I read that it was created as a exposition more than show piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though it's a choreography, even though it's a set, no, there's a beginning and an end of each section, and then the sections put together one after the other one. It was meant to be for people walking around while they were watching the show.
Yeah.
So I understand totally. I mean, the photography of the film is,
Amazing.
I mean, beautiful. It's astonishing. I really absolutely adored the whole picture, the whole video, and big part of it, as you say, Miguel, it was because of the photography. It was beautiful. It was simply beautiful. The light, the how the how it was shot, how it was. I mean, anyway. But I think that the audience can get a bit of that too if you're moving around, sitting down, like in a classical setup in a theater, in the audience watching something in front of you. It's a different setup, and I think it's still possible to enjoy the choreography or the piece of art you have in front of your eyes in that way too, no? In a different way, the way that you're watching, changing your.
Yeah, that way definitely. Yeah. I mean, I even like thought like to be engaged with the piece, I didn't even need anything happening in the movie. You know, like with the first picture of it, it was enough. You know, like I don't mean the first picture because there is this little prologue where there is the guy moving this. How would you call that in English? I don't know.
Like a pendulum.
Pendulum, yeah. So
Yeah, the
there is
beginning.
this small prologue, but after that, on the first actual scene, let's say, if I hit pause, I have 10 minutes to watch things, just the paintings, the sculpture, anything, you know, the reflection that it was amazing, the reflection on the floor. to the ceiling. Everything was great from that. So I didn't need much to be already engaged. Just the photography was more than enough. I don't know.
What about you, Mal?
Yeah, I generally I enjoyed watching it. I mean, I have my I don't want to say criticisms. I have my queries or questions about it, but it's not so much about what I saw. Like in general, I enjoyed watching it, and I agree with everything that everyone's already said. So I don't need to repeat what you guys have already said. Let's say, but I just have my questions. That's like, how much of it was because of actually the piece that was made, and how much was it because of the photography, the editing, the location, the music. Everything was really beautiful, you know. But all of those are like, how to say, external elements that have been brought together to make this thing happen. But it's not the actual creation, you know. Like I was imagining to myself what would it have looked like in another setting with other music in a normal sort of stage environment. I don't think I would have found it so engaging.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
my
have seen already the 2 sections of it, if not 3 sections of it. I had seen already videos of it, or actually full section, almost. The last section where they jump on that trampoline and on the staircase and then back and forth, the three guys. I had seen the version that he does himself alone, and that was quite a while ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it was one of these videos that came out and sort of went viral because it was really, really, really beautiful to see.
Yeah.
And it was you could only see the staircase and the floor where he was coming in and out of. You couldn't see anything else behind it, or I mean, I think it was on studio or stage of some kind, that you could only see him and the structure, so to say, the stage set. And that was, I mean, for me, it was equally engaging, as well as the solo of this woman floating around, I don't know, attached by the waist on this
This
sort of,
balance.
yeah, and the turning stage, the turning plate stage with the duet on top. He did also something else with 4 people, and that was on a stage.
Yeah, also went super viral, no?
Huh?
That one also went super viral, no? This rotating stage thing, no? Yeah. Yeah.
And it was on an empty box, black box, just the turning plate. So yeah, it was equally beautiful.
I think,
for you wouldn't.
I mean, from my point of view, I find it interesting that as we got to watch it as a video, right? So we got to take it in the best version, a very well done video. So the best version of the way that we were allowed to consume the piece. You know, it's hard to compare it to being at the exposition in Pantheon, or to have seen the version of it on stage, because the whole point is to be able to watch it in a video. And for me, in this current moment where so many people are uploading things on video or putting their whole shows online, I'm glad that and I haven't seen anything else. This is the only piece I've seen this whole time, this past month and a half. I'm glad that I watched something that was made to be consumed as video, not a recording of a stage work, you know? Because then you really cater to the fact that it's video and make that its purpose. And but having said that, I think because of the fact that almost all the pieces have no front, there's no front in any of the pieces. They all rotate.
Yeah, none of them.
They all face inwards or out in a way that you're always seeing from every side. I think it would be still quite interesting to watch, even if you were still standing still at a museum exhibit, because every side will be presented to you sooner or later.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can maybe think is maybe on the stairs, if it was something beautiful moment happened and the whole stairs are in your face, okay, maybe you don't get to see because it's enclosed, you know? But everything else is very open and rotating, and you could see from many sides many things. And yeah, I haven't seen it on stage, so I cannot say, but I find that it makes it very accessible in a way, you know?
But for some, like, I wonder, because I found so beautiful the way the video was done that right now, if I saw it live, I think I would be missing something. If I saw it live on the way, like we were talking, like just having one point of view. I think with the walking around way, maybe not. Maybe I can choose where to be. I can choose when to disengage of the piece just to find another spot or something. But yeah, like somehow, because of that, specifically because of the reason that the piece has so many angles, that being only on one, you are gonna be missing. My feeling is that I would be missing parts of it. And also because, for example, on the last section of the piece, that it was to me my favorite, you need to not see what's under in the middle of that circle, because if you see it from the beginning, your perspective is gonna change. You know already what is going to happen. And the thing is that I already saw it also, the clip that Saúl was talking before about. I saw it, and on this clip you could see the center a bit, or maybe I saw something else. I saw a rehearsal or something, so I knew that they would be jumping towards it. But I don't know, I felt like if the video was made that way, that you could not see that they would jump, if I find myself on a theater where I am standing a couple of meters up and I can see it, it's like, oh yeah, now I know what's gonna happen, and I don't have that element of surprise that is super important in our shows.
At the same time, that's quite, I mean, not quite difficult to achieve, but somehow, especially when you have work of a certain choreographer already, you go, yeah, sometimes you might be surprised with and how to call it, but with a bit more fresh ideas, whatever, but it would still have the same sort of stamp, sort of signature.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's being picky. Like, I'm being quite, picky on something that you could pick up from the piece. The piece is amazing. So something, something to talk about that is not just amazing.
What did you guys think? I mean, we can talk about like how we consume the piece, but like the themes of the piece, you know, like because I guess this is called The Great Ghosts, but the original exhibit was called The History of Mechanism or something. Translating from French, I don't speak French. So, and I mean, I was lucky enough to watch the piece with the English text being read and not the French text, so I could take in the text quite well. And it was very complicated. It's very complicated in the language I speak, you know. But it gave a kind of context to the work that I quite enjoyed. Even if I didn't always love all the text that was coming, I felt that the piece being about like finding suspension or finding balance or perpetuality. Oh my goodness. Perpetuum. My English is horrendous. This perpetual idea, I found it very pure and very. I mean, we said beautiful many times, but I felt that it was very appropriate in its way of showing something really physical and scientific almost, without it being cold.
Yeah. I mean, to me, the language was a little bit difficult because I saw it in French and I speak a little bit of French, but I couldn't understand everything. But still, I got the feeling of it and what it was talking about. Maybe I didn't get just every word, and I didn't feel it necessary. Also, like that the text was like another part of it, like the music or the video or the transitions on the video. So I don't know. I would say that if someone wants to watch it in French, they are not gonna be missing out so much. Like I have the luck that I am not alone at home now. I live with my girlfriend, and she doesn't speak French, and she could watch it without any problem. And afterwards, she was not like needing to know what the text was about to enjoy the piece.
I also, like Max, I heard watched the version with the English text. And yeah, I really liked really liked the text. I think it was from this Victor Hugo, who I believe is a Portuguese writer, right? Have I got that right?
No, isn't he French? He wrote Les
Is he
Miserables.
French?
I think he's French.
Okay,
the text was from three different. It was someone who I'd never heard of, Jean-Jacques Rousseau and Victor Hugo.
Okay.
Depending on which part.
My brain is getting me confused with someone else then. Okay. It's age. Anyway, but I really like the text. I personally, for me, it really added something to the whole thing. For me, I would have felt something lacking to make that connection between what I was watching, the sort of spectacular element, and making sense out of everything. For me, that really helped me engage in the piece more. But what I didn't like so much in the English version, I don't know what you felt, Max, but for me the narration was very bland. I guess that was the
person reading it.
Yeah, both the male and the female. For me, the female narrator sounded like Siri. Which I guess has a certain, I guess that was the purpose, and what they were asked to do was to deliver the text in a very neutral way. But again, I was just questioning myself what it would have been like had the text been delivered in a more poetic way. What that would have done to the whole thing. I don't know how it was in French, but in English it was certainly read very neutral. And I was just wondering what it would have been like another way. But...
Saúl, you watched it also in French, right?
Yeah, I did watch it in French. I do speak a little bit of French, although I forgot most of it, and it was really hard to understand. I still do speak a little. My French friends say that it's still good and blah blah blah, but also I found that these texts, the regular kind of text that you read.
Hey, your sound is gone. Saúl, careful. Do you hear
Is it gone now?
Wait. Talk again?
Just the last couple of words.
Yeah, you missed like 10 seconds of it.
Okay. The internet.
If
I'm entirely honest with you guys, you guys froze from the second one of the recording.
We're all just like frozen in place.
You guys are like.
I hope it's a good looking face anyway.
You can send it to us afterwards. Take a screenshot.
Yeah, take a screenshot of
it. Let me just do that, right?
Yeah,
there you go. So yeah, as I was saying, it's hard French. It's more difficult French than the regular French that people talk because it's very poetic. It's very some of it is poetry. Even so, not vocabulary, structure, grammar. It's different. So it was a bit harder for me to understand. But I could understand most of it or a lot of it, and for me, it was quite important. Still, you could see, I did see before these separate chunks a while ago. They didn't have any text. They only music in the as part of the show, part of the choreography. But now with the text, like the text sort of put everything together. It was putting every section, basically the transition in between the sections were made with a lot of the text. And yeah, all this to say that even though I had seen works that were either the same or very similar, separate setup, uh, it it did put well together the text with the whole ambient, because for me his work has this subtle or this simplicity that is really really beautiful to see. He repeats the same all the time for a long time, falling and bouncing from this trampoline onto that staircase, and investigates a little bit how to do it in a different way and how to jump from place to there. But still, the mechanic of it is all the time the same. But you don't get bored of it if you get attracted to it. I was left wanting to see more, So even though it's possible to see it without text and without this whole setup, just section by section, and it being really beautiful too, I think that with the atmosphere of the neoclassical architecture, the decoration, all the meaning that's behind of the Pantheon, a big, huge symbol for French society and history. It was one big important. I really liked the relation of or the connection. How you or what you guys thought about this connection that they did just change one word in the same text 3 times. Once was the earth, another time was creation, another time was the world.
Yeah.
And it was talking about how, let's say, the earth doesn't take a rest, cannot take a rest of being itself, of what was it saying? Doesn't know, doesn't know.
Doesn't know rest, right? It was saying specifically like the earth doesn't know rest, or the world doesn't know rest. Yeah.
Exactly. Or creation doesn't rest.
Creation doesn't know rest. Yeah.
I don't know. For me, the first time you hear the text, yeah, it's really beautiful and intense, whatever. But the second time you start hearing it, and you recognize that it's talking about something else, but in the exact same way with the exact same words, and it makes total sense. I don't know. For me, it was a really beautiful tool.
Yeah,
to-
it's a tool that usually choreographers use also, and that we know how much it works. The repetition that goes into another, um, let's say, another meaning, even repeating the same steps just by changing the music, or these things that many choreographers do. Do you hear me? No.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
just saying, like this piece, which is kind of a collage of other works he's made set to Schubert music.
Yeah. But that thing, no, that choreographers use, like in movement itself, that they create a section of 10/8, let's say, and then they do it only in a solo, and then that solo is a duet because the movement from one person works perfectly having two people. And this thing of recognizing something on the piece that you already saw 10 minutes before, it's something that makes you want to understand better how it's working, and to feel more engaged, or what Saúl just said, like okay, now it makes even more sense, like it's even more part of the piece. And it's a choreographic element that he's using this time with only voice, and
Yeah.
I mean not only voice, or with the text, just changing one word but keeping the same structure of it. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it was the sort of the leitmotif of the show, if you will.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
for you, Saúl, though, was the voice cold or neutral or robotic in French?
What?
Say it one more time.
Yeah, because I still don't see you, and I just hear, and it lags a bit. I don't know what I'm interrupting or not. So
No.
I'm really
You're
sorry.
not. Don't worry.
Yeah, and even if you are, don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, we are not talking something. We are not that great speakers, so let's cut each other.
So yeah, I didn't find it particularly serious, to be honest. I did find that it was not particularly passion. There was not so much passion in the voice, or in the way they were interpreting the text. But I think it was sort of needed to, in the way that if I had the feeling that, I mean, it didn't bother me at all, and I didn't think of it till now. You said that it sort of bothered. So
It didn't bother me. It was more I was just wondering about it, what it would have been like had it been delivered differently.
But yeah, maybe, I don't know. I will watch the English version to see how I feel about it. If it's different in between the French.
I mean,
But
definitely.
in the French one.
Sorry. Yeah, definitely. There was a moment in the piece where the way the text was delivered was completely different. That during the first duet of the piece, where the stage is turning, there was the voice of the female, and she was whispering the text and having it in a very different tone that the beginning was. And yeah, also I wanted to add that in the French version, the male voice is Yoann Bourgeois, and the female version is another woman that I don't know if she was a dancer or not. I forgot to check after if she was one of the performers.
Yeah, I wanted to, and I forgot.
Because I presume that the French version is much more widely used, and that the English version is only minimally used for certain small circumstances. So it could be that just simply didn't spend that much time
Yes.
like perfecting it or getting it exactly how the French version was, or because for me it just felt like it was kind of being like they had the text in front of them and they were reading it as they were recording it, rather than they know the text and I'm reading it because I know the text, you know. But
I have to
don't know.
disagree with you,
Yep.
Mal. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, even though I agree that there's something about the voice that was a bit like concrete, or a bit like, yeah, it reminded me in the sense of all the statues that they had in the movie, and the subject matter of something so scientific. But I thought that it was intentional, really intentional, to
Yeah,
be this way.
No, it's quite possible. Well, I'm presuming it was intentional. It was more like, as I said, I just like wonder what would have been the impact had it been read by something with a bit more passion, more in that way.
Yeah, what I was about to say before is that if I wonder if how would it be? I think they did it like that because if it was like the text is already emotional enough, if you will, that for me at least it transmits a lot of emotion as it is the text, that if you put a little bit more of let's say passion in the interpretation, the way you interpret it or you deliver it, I think probably for me, for my taste, would have been a bit too much.
Maybe it wasn't so much the emotion. Maybe it was also more the like the meter or like the breath of how it was being said. Maybe it wasn't so much like emotion. It was more. For me, the problem was it felt like it was being read, and like exactly the rhythm of it. It was more because of that direction. I think that bothered me a bit. Yeah.
I feel really curious. I really want to watch it to see.
I mean, this is connecting me thoughts that I was having, that to ask you guys how you felt about the tone of the piece, because to me the whole piece was in one same tone, that it was like the best way to do it, because usually I need the change of emotions in one piece. So for example, to laugh and 10 minutes later I'll be crying. I'm exaggerating for sure, but the fact that the rhythm of a piece, to me, it's quite important, and it makes me enjoy way more a show when I see it, that there are rhythm changing, and yeah. But this time the whole piece has one same tone. Maybe at the end it changes a little bit in the last section, because the movement itself needs to change a bit by the falling and the activeness that you need to re-engage your body to come up the stairs. But during the whole piece there was one single tone that it was, as I keep saying, like amazing, like quite beautiful, very well chose when to place the music, when to place silence. Everything was very well controlled. But to me there was a moment that I was like, I don't, let's say, I wouldn't put this piece in my best of all, just because of this one tone piece, that it was of course on purpose, but for my like. What did you guys think?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I felt a bit the same. It was very much a kind of flat line, but for me the moment that I liked and I felt like was necessary was the moment when it went silent and they had this long section where they were climbing onto the square platform with the chairs and the tables. I really liked it. For me, it really broke this perfection element that like everything was so pure and perfect. For me, this sort of instability idea really broke this line quite well. I would have preferred to have more of those moments, for my personal opinion, but this moment of just silence and like two people trying to find this balance without being able to look at each other, I found that for me that was my favorite moment. I prefer that to all the other spectacular falling and flying. This was my favorite moment, but possibly also because it kind of broke a bit the this line what you were talking about now.
This is also the only moment where they smile the whole piece, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
When they finally sit down and then they smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I felt the monotony. Of course, it's there, but maybe it's also because of just my taste. I quite liked it. Not that I liked it better if it had been than if it had not been monotonous. It's just I like that aspect of it. So, but I found that even with the monotony aspect, there was a little bit of like subtle fluctuation on exactly what I took away from each section that I was watching. That I didn't feel like I was watching one tone section throughout the whole work. If anything, the parts that I felt the most monotonous were the parts in between, where there are climbing and where there's text and where there's the cityscape. This was not so touching to me. It felt like really transition between. Even it was well made and well designed. I didn't find it as thematically important as the rest of the video or the rest of the work. But each setting had its own kind of interpretation for me, even if it was monotonous. The spinning table with the duet has a very different atmosphere for me than for example the table with that tips off balance. You know, even though there's one guy, one girl, with a very physics driven, I don't want to say gimmick, but gimmick about the stage that they need to cope with. And there's two very different works, you know?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like there is not one same scene happening several times, but I don't know, like to me the changes are made because otherwise it would be exactly the same. So there is definitely a change on this monotony, but to me it's a very subtle wave, very subtle wave that this is just as we always say, like this art thing is a matter of taste also, and what we enjoy and what we like. And to me this flat line was something that was taking a little bit away my attention because maybe I need more emotions on it. Yeah, I mean not emotions. I'm saying emotions, but the piece was quite emotional, especially those duets that we were talking about. Both of them had a lot of tension on them, or a lot of engagement among the two partners. But yeah, there was this. I needed not spectacular, but just a change on the music, for example, to not have always the same sort of aesthetic to it. Yeah.
It's clearly there. It has one particular main aesthetic, one particular color, one temperature in general. But I do think that in this subtlety, in this really subtle, there was within those changes, there was a lot of different feelings represented, meaning in the duets of the turning, they were really gentle to each other, and the way they were connecting to each other, they were really taking their time to finally touch each other or to finally connect with it. And that was really sensitive and really careful, with a lot of care. But Meanwhile, the table would be turning at the highest speed it could turn. That contrast there, which was repeated in a few times throughout the piece. For example, in the last section, the trampoline, and they are all bouncing super close to each other and super quickly after each other. But then the thing is turning slow, and the music is really soft, and the temperature of the light is really cold. It gives you a certain calm, but you have this other factor, this other image that is not, it's not calm. You're thinking like, fuck, they're gonna hit each other, they're gonna step on each other, they're gonna knock each other off the thing, and it never happens. It's quite thrilling, like the silent part. I also really enjoyed. I think it's my favorite part of the show, the silent duet of these two people balancing that board that is just, held by the center. It's really thrilling, especially because it's silent. If there was music, for example, I think it wouldn't be that thrilling. So I think in those subtle, you can find a lot of range to it, to say. It's very close to the eye, but sort of under the table, they are telling you, no, it's not, And that happens a few times in the piece, and really enjoyed. Got away as being a profession for a while. You can see this kind of thing after a while. But I really, really enjoyed that. Something that makes it not be boring. It does makes it makes you sit on the edge of the chair at least.
I mean, yeah, something I also wrote like while watching that sometimes the pieces, it happens to me that there are pieces that I watch that being a performer myself, I feel like I would rather be on stage experiencing what would be to manage that balance. For example, in this duet, it was happening a lot to me that I would love to work on that, like to have that balance and try to communicate just by feeling the weight of the other person, how it's changing and how I need to be changing it. Like I would enjoy a lot to be inside the piece, like perform that piece and have to be that engaged for the piece to be able to work. Because I mean, if you are not 100% on that piece, you just like you fuck up. Like the balance falls and there is a sound and that's it. Cut. We restart.
Cut. Take 5, everyone.
And I don't think they were able to.
No, I don't think
cut too
they
many
would do many
times
times. Yes.
to record in that place, I don't think they had that place.
Yeah, and
I don't know, maybe they did, but
yeah. Something else I want to a little add to it, like something I found super beautiful. It was that in all of the sections, actually, maybe not in the last one, but in all the rest, they had the ambient sound a little bit as part of the sound. Like the cracking of the mirror on the first scene. It was part of the soundscape that they were giving us, because it was for sure the music way clearer on top, but this cracking of the mirror was great to me, because it felt more like we are inside the scene. Like it made it a little bit more interesting even than just the sound coming from the computer outside completely, and the actual sound inside the performance.
Yeah. Or like the sound of the rotation of the square was the same. It's like when you first hear, it's like, oh, why didn't they just mute down this like mechanical sound? But then after, it's exactly what you said. I think it does enable you to be a bit more present in the scene, no?
Yeah.
One of my thoughts was to the music. Like, first, why Schubert for all the pieces? Why Schubert? Maybe there's a very important reason. Maybe it's because Schubert writes beautiful music. I'm not sure if there's like a deeper reason or not. But the other was, I wonder if, because these pieces have also been, not all, I guess, I'm not sure to specifically each one, but I know that I have seen at least one version of the stairs with different music. And I know that the rotating table quartet is to Frank Sinatra, or at least part of it is. So, it made me wonder, like, did the dancers performing in this video, did they have the music that we heard when they were doing it?
I don't think so, but
I also don't think so.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, it is some parts were very synchronized in the swells of the music, especially in the stairs and in the rotating table. So, I mean, there are other pieces that could have been just edited to look like it's on music. Like, it's easy to edit to look like it's on music. The one where she's on the ball, or the one where she's on the flying pendulum. This is, is easy to trick the audience into thinking that this is the correct length, or whatever. It's an editing thing. But some of the others, it seemed a bit like, okay, wow, this is very musical in a way,
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I also think like the music was put in the editing of the video afterwards, and they chose to have this same tone of music. And I don't know like if there is a deeper meaning. I didn't get it on having Schubert. Definitely, it's not necessary. You can just choose it because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And but yeah, something I saw also by the end of the video on the credits, that it was recorded by drones, actually by 4 drones, or 4 or 5, I don't remember. Yeah, and something I really, because we are talking about the piece and we talk about Yoann Bourgeois, that is very important for the piece for sure, but there is other people that I found that are as important on this specific piece, at least, that it was Pierre Hubert Martin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it perfectly, but yeah, and he was the director of photography. Like, it's super important, the work of this guy for the piece. Like it's basically 50% of it at least.
Yeah.
And then I also got another name that it was from the I don't know if this is because I got it from the French titles, but machinist, the person in charge of the buildings, like I don't know if that's the English word, but yeah, François Dupois. Yeah, he was the guy, I guess, making the set of it and the whole mechanic of it. And yeah, it was another huge part of the piece, this aspect of how well the actual stage works for the piece, because in this piece actually we didn't speak about movement at all, because there is not much to say to the movement itself, not what it represents, that is huge what it represents, but the movement quality or so. It was just movement made for the action, but not movement qualities just by the sake of moving in different qualities. It was everything made for the action itself.
That the movement is really movement as normally dancers have the image of movement, but because it was really simple, movement in this piece could very well be simply walk or simply hugging someone. It's just that they were taking a longer time or different whatever, no? But the movements were really, really simple. It was the combination of those very simple movements with the whole set, with the angle from where it was seen to the movement of the set was equally important, if not more important, even the movement the dancers were doing.
I mean, for me, like one other name, I guess, that should be mentioned for this is the other person that made the film, Louise Narboni.
Exactly. Yeah.
The concept is choreographed by Yoann, but I think it's important to say that the film is made together with this other person. Yeah, but movement-wise, yeah, it is mostly not vocabulary, I guess maybe is the correct word. There's no vocabulary in the traditional step sense. Maybe the last piece you could say is a little bit like this because it's very specific in how you fall and how you climb, and if you don't do it right, then you're going to hurt each other or you hurt yourself. So in this way, I think it's very fair to say. But at the end of the day, like from a dance theory perspective, I don't know if this is the correct term since I studied dance theory, but just being a dancer or a choreographer, when you have, let's say, steps that are created by the necessity of the action that is made against you or made in around you or made in your circumstance or environment, that is just as equally a step in a sense. Maybe it's not in a sense a standalone step. It's not a step that stands by itself to be able to be in a completely blank stage and you just execute those steps and it's probably not the same. It's not at all the same. It's not its purpose. But you have then things that require physical problem solving in a situation that seem pedestrian because they're not vocabulary, but are not pedestrian at all. I don't think normal people could do what you see in that video at the same time, you know? Like, I guess Yoann comes from circus arts as well, and like there's a lot of technique behind circus arts that is very different from dance, and at the same time very similar to dance. You know, it's to do with body and body language and body coordination, and they're just a very different context. So, and part of it is making it look easy is also part of circus arts, and also part of dance, especially if we come from ballet background. So I think it's. I understand what you mean because I am in agreement with you, but I think using the right words or right way to say that there is no vocabulary to. It's not a vocabulary-driven work, but the steps are very much there, even if it's not taken in or even interpreted and reproduced in a traditional sense that a stage dancer is used to.
Yeah, no, of course I didn't mean that.
No. It was just to contribute to
go
the.
on stage and do those things.
She's like kicking up the chair. She's like, ah.
No, but definitely, like, of course, not any pedestrian can do it, but you don't need a dancer to do this. You need someone like that knows a little bit about physicality and about body language and how to control his own body, but you don't need a dancer for it. Like we were talking about how John comes from the circus, so you need someone maybe with that background, or even a theater actor, a movement actor. someone
theater.
physical theater. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't finding the proper words. But yeah, you don't specifically need a dancer with the training that a dancer usually does to become a professional dancer. You actually, in many ways, for this movie, the traditional training from dancers are not enough for this, because specifically, like talking about this moment of the balancing the stage, this smile that you spoke about, maybe you have it naturally as a person to smile that way and to feel that warm all of a sudden after all the tension from before, but maybe not. And if you don't have it naturally, you need a training for that. And this is something that I would rather, from, like, let's say if I put it completely from the outside and I just need to choose a cast for this, I would go rather to actors than to dancers for this scene. I would feel that the expression, physical and facial, is very, very, very important for some of the sections on this video.
I mean, for me, I agree that maybe the stereotypical, or generally speaking, academic training of a person is not, as a dancer, it doesn't produce someone that will be able to jump into this kind of work.
No.
I can't jump into this kind of work. But when you consider, for example, that we've known each other for a very long time and seen each other from almost, some of us from coming out of school to going into a company and then afterwards, So that level of understanding or sensitivity that a dancer needs is not never, but is very rarely already ready from a certain point, like the sensitivity and
Completely agree. Yeah.
awareness, or being, maybe is the best word, to be able to do this piece is something that is human and also sometimes missing in a dancer, but it's not at all separate from, I know that you agree with me, but it's just for this video that the awareness of being human, of being yourself, or pretending to be somebody else, or being somebody else on stage, all those things are not at all separate from what being a dancer is about. And if you have someone who is really, really, and it's not talent, really, really learned and wise about this and can do this, I think they could do this piece just as well as anyone who is not a dancer and can physically learn these things well, it's not an argument for one or the other, but I think that this aspect of humanity that this piece needs, from the dancers anyway, it's not to be separated from being a dancer, or the dance necessity in a physical sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I agree. I agree completely with this. Like, especially on the side that maybe it's a matter, because I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say it and then say that I'm wrong while saying it. Maybe it's a matter of maturity. Like, you need to have certain experiences in life, that it's not a matter of age. It's a matter of experiencing something that makes you feel, I don't know. Yeah, you see, like, I'm wrong while I'm saying it, but this coming
It's okay,
out of
no one's
school,
gonna watch this.
but this coming out of school connects the fact that you don't know everything about dance when you come out of school, and I mean everything about technique, everything about performance, everything about everything, but also you don't know everything about life yet. So there's these two parallel lines that are growing up in different ways, and so when you come out of school, you may have an amazing technique and amazing knowledge about movement, but you don't have enough as a performer because you haven't experienced enough on stage or even outside of stage to make you know how to be so generous on stage when you need to be, or be so aggressive when you need to be, or so kind, and all those emotions that maybe you haven't experienced enough or you don't know yet how to deliver. So there is these two paths at the same time. I found a way to explain it in a. I don't contradict myself. There is a way. There is a way. And yeah, it's connecting a bit with the last conversation we had about the getting comfortable on stage, being watched by other people. There is a connection there made between all of these things that a dancer needs to have to become like the full evolution, the full thing, the full package.
Yeah, well, and at the same time, who does know about all there is to know?
Exactly.
There is always something you can learn, and you can learn that from, and something you can also teach.
Hmm.
Like, what is the full package even, and
Exactly.
what is the fuller package after
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, whether you come out of school or you come out of your, I don't know, you go to retirement, mm, there is something you can still learn. You can evolution never stops. So yeah, no, I get
does
what you
not rest.
mean.
Does not rest. Evolution knows no rest.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It knows no fatigue.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but this feels like a good circle coming back on the whole conversation.
Definitely.
It's almost dinner time.
Yeah.
What do you guys? Any closing thoughts on everything?
No, maybe just say to close the video that we are gonna be doing this next week again, and we are gonna choose another piece that we don't know still yet. We have a few options that we will be doing weekly, and yeah, no, about this piece, I don't have much more to say. Great. I was happy I saw it. And yeah, something you guys wanna?
I just wanted to touch on a little bit more what Max was saying about the why Schubert or that kind of question, or because I still wonder, like, I don't know, it's I don't want to sound too critical, but it almost feels like, I mean, for me, when I was watching the whole thing, I was so into the music and really into the words of the text. For me, that was almost more important than the visual aspect. Like, if I was to give a balance, the visual aspect or the performance aspect was almost supporting the sound. Maybe that's why I was so sensitive about the text. But purely because I just engaged so much with Schubert and I loved the music and the choice was really good, but it almost feels like cheating, you know? I was into it so much because the music was so good, you know? That's why I was questioning in the beginning, like, what would it would I have been so engaged if it was different music?
Yeah.
That's still what it just doesn't, well, not bothers, not the right word, but just remains that question.
Maybe we can pick something next week that touches even more on this idea, kind of accompaniment that happens in dance and how it affects our experience and even when we don't even notice that it's affecting our experience.
Yeah.
It's such a hard question because, like, on the one side, like, I would have criticized it had it chosen music that I don't like, and then I'm still questioning it because it chose music that I liked too much. So it was like, did I like it just because?
Yeah.
So there's no way to win, but
We are very critical. But I mean, maybe, I don't know if you guys know anybody that was involved in the piece, in the creation, or that is usually part of the team from Jean. But if you know and you can send a text, like, also maybe it's even nice for him to realize that that we are spending more than an hour to speak about his piece. I mean, I would be happy
yeah.
if somebody did that with one of my pieces.
Yeah, for me, I'm really glad that we chose this piece. I mean, not that I would have been unglad of another piece or nothing, but yeah, I'm glad that I took time to watch this in this situation where we're all usually stuck at home and none of us are able to go anywhere to perform or rehearse or dance. I'm glad that this is the one piece so far that I've watched online that this left a good impression, and I hope that. Yeah, I mean, not every piece is going to be a made-for-video work of dance in a museum, But I hope that, at least from my side, like this makes me very much appreciative of when material is presented for the medium that it's getting viewed in. Which is why maybe sometimes I love music videos that have dance because they know their videos. Maybe I don't love the choreography, but okay, different discussion for another time.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something we can touch on another time, but it's something I wanted to talk with you guys, which is a bit linked to this time, like another sort of subtopic for another time. But like, how much is our mood of that time and place affecting how we perceive a performance? For example, what Max was saying now, like, I'm very glad we watched this piece in this moment because I haven't seen a piece of dance for blah blah blah, and we're at home and blah blah blah. Like, how much does that affect how you perceive the show? Then I've seen 10 shows in the last 5 days, and I've just had an argument with XYZ, and now I'm what, like, how much does your state change how you perceive what you're watching? That's basically just what and the question for another time, maybe.
Yeah, we should touch it because I agree. It's something to speak about. It's part of the experience you have on watching a show. It's part of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So, any last words, Saúl?
Last words.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so then that's it. Hey, so thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Same time next week, or let's just say that for now. We can always.
Yeah, more or less. Tuesday. If it's Monday, it's fine. If it's Wednesday, it's fine. Yeah.
Sweet. Peace out, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Subscribe.
I don't know how to leave this. Oh, here. Wait.
Like. Don't forget to follow me. Follow me home.
Don't follow me.
All right, let's see how this recording thing works.